it's Danny at Danigirlart, and this is lesson 4 from the series Art from the Heart. But you'll notice that I am not using the sketchbook that I have been using. It really was becoming frustrating. I wasn't happy with the layout, the pages were coming loose, and the paper was very thin. So I'm using this book. It's really more user friendly, it's larger, and just I'm all around happier with it. You're going to notice I already have a painted heart here, and I just did this randomly a while back, and I don't like it. So this is more about what we can do with things that we are maybe not so pleased with. And I left it for quite some time because in a new day, we might see things with new eyes. But for me, I just wasn't really feeling this. Not that it's terrible, it just wasn't very exciting to me. So I'm taking some acrylic paint here and some brushes. I'm starting with this beautiful turquoise blue and some yellow, and the two together will mix and make some green. And I'm going to bring this page into the left side, so it's not just a singular page on the right. And I'm painting over some of that background. So if you wanted to do something similar with me, you could paint a background on the right hand side and then have a nice thick open heart over that when it dries. So that's basically where I started. And I can't even remember what my intention for it was at the time, but I am back to it and we're going to add to it. And I'm kind of feeling more in a loose graffiti mood today, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to encourage you as you're starting to create to maybe think of a song that has the word heart or is about love or hearts or just anything in general that's inspirational to you. So there's been a song that I've been listening to a lot recently by a musical artist or group named Cain, Cain. And the song is called I'm So Blessed, and they have this two lines in the song that I just always love every time I hear it. And it says, I'm so blessed. I have this heartbeat in my chest. And I love this song so much. So I am going to include those lyrics into this piece today. And since it's talking about a heartbeat, I had a memory of a Zentangle pattern that was created that looks like a heartbeat. So I brought that up and I'm going to include that in also. And heartbeat, the Zentangle pattern is by Cindy Nape, and that can be found on tanglepatterns.com. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So with a clean, dry brush, that's why it's looking very scratchy and open here and not going on smooth, which is what I wanted, is some pink. So now I'm adding some of this magenta pink into here and just doing some overlapping. I love sketchbooks and I love painting just in general because when you don't particularly care for something, just give it a moment to dry and paint over it. So these couple of pink areas over the blue I'm not loving. I'm going to take some more blue and kind of dull them and go over that. So I feel a bit happier with that background. And again, I'm thinking like a graffiti type of look with this piece. All right, so I'm going to pause and I am going to let this dry, or I'm going to blow dry it. So I'm going to take a high flow acrylic in black now. And the reason I'm switching to this is because it's a looser, thinner paint. And when I draw with a paintbrush, I find it easier to manipulate it if I'm using something thin. If I'm having really thick, gloppy paint, it's a little bit more difficult. I'm going to have to keep pausing, dipping, pausing, dipping. This I get a little bit longer of a brush stroke. So my lines are a little bit neater and my hand doesn't feel as awkward as I'm drawing. So now I'm going to use Heartbeat, the Zentangle pattern by Cindy Knapp. And it looks like just like you probably are imagining, a heartbeat. And I'm going to go in with my brush. I've switched to a round brush now. I find that drawing lines with a round brush is a little bit easier. And my hand's kind of up in the air right now, but if you rest the side of your hands on the paper as long as it's dry, that's going to give you a little bit more support and you'll have an easier time drawing. So I think with this, I'm going to, go over part of my heart and then I'm going to go through it and come out the backside with the heartbeat. On the variation for heartbeat, Cindy adds a heart on some of the points of the heartbeat. And I'm going to just go in and do that. And then I have two now obvious hearts. I feel like I want an odd number, so I'm going to add another just floating heart down in the left-hand corner. And again, I'm using that black fluid paint and it really is flowing very nicely. I'm not having too much problem drawing with it. See, look, I'm thinking I'm drawing. I'm not. I'm painting. Painting with it. All right, so now I'm just going to add a few wispy, not really focusing too much, extra heartbeats on the page. So now I've taken a white acrylic high flow and put it onto my palette next to me, and I'm going to start to draw in my quote. You could also use a Posca paint marker if you're adding a quote in, but I want to go for kind of a not so precise clean look because I'm thinking graffiti, a messy wall, so I'm okay with it not having a crisp look. I have little hints of yellow throughout the right side and a little bit in the center, and I want to bring a little yellow into the left. So I'm taking a Neo color, using it dry and adding a little bit of yellow into this heart just to have a little bit more balance. Using a pink Neo color, just going to add these little bits of heartbeat in the background for more texture than anything, not really to look at it as an image, just to add a little bit more texture in the background. So I'm going to do that with a pink over here in the pink area, and then I'm going to do some greenish blue on the right hand side. Using a white Posca paint marker, I'm going to add some highlights in. I'm going to add some on areas of the heart and the heartbeat. And I'm not worried about a light source here. I'm just adding them wherever I want to. Very freeing. And just little details. And if there's anything else you want to add into the background, you could do that as well. I like these type of pages because it's not just about creating art, but for me, hearing this song and the happiness it brings me, it brings back like memories of different places I've listened to it and what's been going on in my life at that time. So when I reflect back on this page in the future, those are some additional things that I'm going to think about, but the viewer is not going to know. So it's kind of like I have my own little secret. So I hope you have enjoyed this. If you create something, I'd love for you to share it with me. You can hashtag Dani, Dani, girl art, and I also have a Facebook page that you could post or share on there as well. And I hope to see you again soon. I am so sorry I haven't been posting recently. I had a medical incident where I was in the hospital and then recovering. So I'm happy to be back and I feel great. And I'm just so excited to be creating again for myself and for you guys. All right, have a great time, everyone. And remember, just enjoy. That's the most important thing, the process of all this, the enjoyment that you're feeling.